Hey again, let me talk in this video about interface. Interface is another concept used in Kotlin, which you'll see it a lot in Android. Interface mean you have a specific interface for different implementation. I have a class for some operation, but this sum will be, or have method for some operation, but this sum operation will use it in different class with different implementation. Here we use interface. Why we use interface? To make this class familiar to all the developers. So if I just create a new not Java class, sorry, I want to create a new Kotlin class. I will name it class interface. Okay. Suppose I have interface. So to define interface in Kotlin, just say interface. Okay. Sorry, not inline. Interface. You give it name. Let me give it name OP. What the operation you suppose you have? Let me suppose I have two operations. One of them function fun for sum. I suppose this sum taking two number one integer. I know I use it a lot sum, but yes, this is most easy example. Number two also taking integer. So this function doesn't have any implementation here. I have another function for div. Okay. Now think about there is a class user, name it user OP, and he want to implement this interface. Just he add 2 OP, then done. So now he say, hey, there is a class, there is error, you are trying to implement this method and this method doesn't have any implementation in your code. So you just click here, you see this error. He say, hey, implement the methods. He say you need to implement 2 methods, select them. Okay, if you see now I don't have any implementation for these 2 methods. I just remove this code from them and try to implement them. Let's suppose here I will return n1 plus n2, and let's suppose here I would, hey, is this one correct? No, because here I expect I don't return anything. So let's suppose I just print n1 plus n2, and that is, and here also let me suppose print line, not a print line, n1 plus n2, which is better doing sum in this way to make it easy for reading. And also it's better to do this one also div and make this one divide by this one. See, he already added the word override, but there is no word here for open, because interface, it is by default open. By default, any method in the interface will be open. See, this is implementation. If you suppose I have another class, which is user OP, which is admin OP. Okay, name it admin OP. And this admin OP also have implementation, but he want to minus from 2 and minus from 2. So you see, I have interface, but I have different implementation here, different implementation from the one that I have it here. Everyone he want to do implementation in his way for that method. You will see interface a lot next upcoming videos, in the Android especially. If you see how just you will see a lot of interface about GPS, about whatever Android already have it. You just try to import that interface and try to implement the method for that. And this is how exactly work. Now you just could create an instance from OP, call these methods normal way, create an instance from admin, call this method in the normal way without any problem. Also, this method could have default data, like default calls. Like for example, by default, they will print here this one. So that's mean if someone did any implement, he will use the default one. For same thing for this one, he will use this one. So with one div, that's mean if you try to call this method without any implementation, he will use these default thing. If you try to implement, he will use your implementation. That's mean if I have another class, which is name it manager OP, and this manager he don't want to implement these methods, he will get the implementation already from this one. By default, he will get this implementation. So you don't see any error. Before he was giving you error because he was asking you to implement, but here by default if you give it implementation. So yes, here we done. If you want to work with it, just go ahead and write here main rx and in your arguments rx, and give it array of string, and make sure you are, well, like just create instance from every class. This is for you to do a create instance for every class and try uh, to call this method. Like for example, what you will do, say admin op equal admin op, what will happen if you don't send anything here, then you say var here, var from that class, and you will call the admin op for example for sum, and say 3 and 10 or whatever. What happened for user op when you call and see it. So here we done. Thank you for watching. See you next.